Oh man, I'm yawning. I got hiccups. Everything's going south on me. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are, and that's why we like you. On this week's episode, we're celebrating a couple of milestones, one of them being our 250th episode, quarter of 1,000. And to celebrate these milestones today, we're drinking Stagg Jr. Batch 17, 128.7 proof. Before we get to any of that, I'd like to give a little business. It's been almost a year, maybe over a year, since we've had a review on Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform. So please head on over there if you haven't already. Leave a review, give a rating. But really, the reviews help a lot because it boosts our spirits. Other than that, you can hit us up on patreon.com/chillfiltered and get in on some wonderful drink alongs, of which we're going to have our next one scheduled for April 28th. It's a Friday night. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you only need the edge because right before Matt Madness, we're going to be pre-funking a little bit. So whether you're a Patreon member, the folks who are in the $10 tier right now, get some sweet samples. Cole, do we know what we're drinking for that?
Yeah, it's a Franklin County Distillers 141 rye, which is a hazmat rye.
Perfect. Fun. And I'll be honest, folks, listeners, Patreon supporters, if you are at that $10 tier and you join us on the Drink Hills, you know Cole sends out some bangers of whiskeys. Cole get some great ones out there. So anyway, hit us up on patreon.com/chillfilter if you want to be a part of that. But make sure you definitely come to the drink along, whether you're a member or not, because we want to get Cole ready. We're in the pre-funk. We're going to get this baby started for when he's round
two. Get my juices going.
Yeah, you got to fire Cole up.
Get the primed pump or the pump prime.
We gotta get Cole just loosey-goosey so he doesn't get the nervous sweats before he dominates. It'll be wonderful. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's all I got. Cole, how you doing, buddy?
You know, this is one of those weeks where I don't feel like I'm doing great. It's not anything I can really talk about, sadly, but just stuff that's been bumming me out. And it's hard. It's hard when you like, I mean, we've all been there. We've had our bummed weeks, but, you know, it kind of feels hopeless sometimes. And not like life in general, but, you know, like certain situations just feel
can it get better,
frustrating. And you feel like, and I think part of it is like me figuring myself out. And I'll say this part is like, figuring out, you know, how to be a better person. And that's hard sometimes when you don't feel like you have the direction you want. Like sometimes it'd just be easier to be like, all right, fulfill these steps and then be a better person. But life isn't always that way. And sometimes I feel like I wish it were, you know, I wish it weren't so nebulous and so aimless, and I'm just like, no, I want to be better, and I sometimes don't even know where to go, and that's hard. So
cool. I think you're the best. And Thanks. There's a lyric from a song that I love that says, if someone talked to you,
I am the walrus.
No, cuckoo, bro. It is from Idols, and it says, if someone talked to you the way you do to you, I'd punch their teeth through. Love yourself.
That's for sure. And that's it too. I'm just very hard on myself. And I would like tear someone apart if they treated anyone like I treat myself.
No, I feel that, man. Like it's easy to get in that spot and just be like, Well, it's funny you say that because like it's nice. Quite the toy cork.
Toy. Cork, so that's how you know.
I've been doing like a lot of reading and stuff like that, and I'm realizing, man, like I have all of these like coping mechanisms from like childhood trauma that I didn't even know were coping mechanisms. But being self-deprecating is one of them too, man. Like where I just get on myself, and it's hard to get out of it. Have you started that meditation app that I sent you?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna send you.
Has that helped in coping mechanisms?
Dude, I will tell you, it has helped me a lot in retraining my self-talk.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I'll send you. It's a 5-minute meditation. I'll listen to it. I used to listen to it every single day for about a month until I can kind of like, it's a mantra that I have now. Like I can repeat it to myself when I start doing the negative self-talk thing, but it helps. Like it just being able to like reframe the way you talk to yourself. And I love it, man. It's awesome. So I'm gonna once you keep talking, I'm gonna send you the specific one right now. But anyway,
nice.
Other than
what was it again? What's the app name?
It's called Insights, and it's kind of like you can. It's all these counselors or people. They'll put their meditations or different things on there, and you can listen to them. And it's kind of like teachers pay teachers. And if you like it, you want to download it, so you can do it offline. You give them like $2 and you can download it, and it's. I love it, man. And any listeners that need something like that, like honestly, 5 minutes. I think like it's easy to get caught up in like meditation, whatever. But my counselor's like, no, I want you to try this. Stick to it for at least a month. And dude, I tell you, it helps me a lot. So
nice.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, but otherwise I'm very blessed. I really mean that. I try to think about, in times like this, I try to think about what I'm grateful for, and it really can change my perspective. And I'm very blessed. I got a lot of things going for me, and yeah, I got many things. I got a family and one to come, and it's a girl, and the other one's a girl, and that's awesome. And girl dad status continued, and yeah, got a good house, good car. My wife's got a good house and a good car in the same house.
How's pregnancy going, man? How's she doing?
Yeah, I mean, she's just chugging along. Yeah, it's funny. You look at like if you see her from the side, you might think she's pregnant, but she's almost 6 months pregnant, and she's like
not showing much,
barely showing. But yeah, just keep your mind on this baby, because it's gonna be a good one. This baby's gonna be
gonna be a good one.
And I'll tell you what though, Beck has just been perfect lately. Like,
dude,
everything about her.
Was it Easter? You posted some pictures of her. She is so dang cute.
Dude, she's
that
so
hair,
cute,
man. That hair is
sweet.
Adorable.
Yeah, she's got these curls in the back, and like she looks great with the little ponytail. And she just loves her daddy, loves her mommy. And we took her to the dentist yesterday. I wasn't there, Heather did, but she did great. We treated her to Heather treated her to ice cream after.
That's what you do.
She is cuddly. She's great hug giver. Like, she will lean into every hug. Like, she will put her head into it. Like, and she gives great kisses. What's that?
It just gets your heart when they cuddle in like that.
Yeah. And she's gotten to the point where
are you a lip kisser with your daughter?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Dude, that's the thing about COVID hit, and I stopped kissing Amara, and little did I know it was my last kiss on lips, because now she's too old.
She's too old for kisses.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then these days I'll like pick her up on my, on my arm, and she'll hug me and straddle me at the same time. Yeah. She'll just be like the biggest hug ever, and I'm like, this is great.
It is.
And yeah, so I'm living the life. Just a hard week, but I got a good life. And
you do.
I'm excited. I have had this Stagg Jr for a while, and I'm excited to drink it, but I'm also excited, nervous for Matt Madness. The guy who I'm going against. I think David from the Shelf Turds. I think I'm going against him, and then the other guy is the guy who won last year. So I'm a little nervous, but I also think I can do it by now. Like, I'm like, there's
no reason you couldn't.
Here.
No reason you couldn't.
I mean, I've been on a roll, and that's awesome. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it the old same attempt I gave it last time and the time before, and
just don't pull a Robby. Don't do dumb stuff.
Yeah, just listen to the prompts. Yeah, but no, but I'm like excited for it, but I'm also like, when I get there, I think my stomach will be like in my heart. Like,
no, man, we're gonna pre-funk you and get loose.
Yeah, I'll get loose, but not too
pump you up. I made that mistake. That's pulling a Robby. Don't do that.
Yeah, learn from Robby.
Don't get loose on the juice. You'll be a silly goose.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it went. Silly goose. But how are you doing, Robby?
Well, I honestly can carry us today, cool energy wise, because I'm doing pretty good. Well, a little tricky. Came home early. I might have to stay home from work tomorrow because the twins have got a little cold and something going on. And Junie is on some antibiotics from last week still and stuff. So we've been down with the sickness a little bit, but it's been like I've had one of those weeks where I'm super productive, and you're just like, I've gotten so much done at work. So it's like one of those things. Work is awesome. The other thing is like we got leaves coming out on the trees now. I'm gonna this weekend I'm gonna reseed some spots in the backyard.
Nice.
And we're smoking a tri-tip for my father-in-law's birthday. He's coming over. Nice. Lots of fun stuff. Kids, and like honestly, the nice thing now, the girls are an age when they get sick, it's not as bad because they know they'll get better. And it would be like, hey, you know what? Like, we can do a little more screens. That's okay. And they're happy with that. Yeah. So it's like not super hard. Unless, well, my wife would say no because I had a couple things this week where I was out in the evening and they were just like too tired meltdowns for bedtime. So that stinks.
We'll get there. Me and Heather and Beck and BB number 2.
That's Roberta. The other thing. Oh,
no, I knew it was going to be. Listeners, don't get your hopes up.
Oh, okay.
And Robby.
Right. The other cool thing. Talking kids, talking whiskey. You found Amara's dump date birthday for me, and I'm super excited about that.
Yes. And the funny thing is, normally I'll just check the date and be like, do I want to buy this Blanton's or not, based on the date alone. And yesterday I was just like, I got it, and then afterwards I looked. I'm like, do I know anyone born on February 27th? And then I'm like, wait. Isn't Amara the end of February? And then I sent you a text and then checked your Instagram where your last post was on her birthday. And then I knew that I had picked up a good bottle. Yeah.
Meant to be
2/27/23.
Yeah. So I told her, I was like, oh, sweet. This is awesome. And Mara's like, what? And I'm like, I got a whiskey with a dump date on your birthday. And she's like, oh, well, what if I don't? And I was like, well, open it on your 21st. And she's like, yeah, what if I don't want to open it? I'm like, well, then when I die, you can have it on your shelf and remember how excited your dad was right now. So
that's great.
You can pour it over my grave. I don't care.
Teenagers. Yeah. That'd be a great way to do it. Yeah. At this point, I have a lot of bottles saved for that kind of thing. But Beck and baby number 2 can do whatever they want with it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
And yeah.
Should we move on?
That's life.
Let's move along.
Business.
Ramble on.
Oh.
What?
Maybe I'll save it for after the break.
Okay, you can do that.
Yeah. But hey, let's just say something real quick. This will be a basically regular episode, being our 250th anniversary, or episode, not anniversary. We don't live that long. 250th episode.
If it was, we should be drinking Highland. Something other. The Highlanders.
Yeah. We are so grateful for our listeners. We're so grateful for our fans. And for the people that check us out for the first time, we are blown away by, just being around this long. 250 episodes is just about 5 years we've been doing this, or at least
you have.
I've been doing this, and Robby joined a good 2-3 years ago.
I did text Adam today. I'm like, hey, just so you know, man, we're on the 250th episode, and you had your hand in it. And he's like, cool, man.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing. And the funny thing is like
I can't.
But anyway, no, I mean, like, it comes down to this: is like, we do this because we love it, and it makes it a lot easier when we have listeners like you guys. So thank you so much for 250 episodes. Any words?
Oh yeah, ballers. Well, I guess I'll say the other milestone we hit this week too. Pretty sweet. We hit 40,000 all-time downloads, which is pretty cool too. Yeah. So not too shabby.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then what do you think, Robby? Any thank yous to the listeners?
Well, Mr. Rapp got your package today. Courier showed up. Some seriously sweet whiskeys in it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Lots of good ones.
2 that are going to be put up next week.
Spoiler alert! I was going to say, into the show, we're doing next week for sure is a Brian Rapp joint. We're excited about these. So, hey, I want to say, I should say this too, folks. If you have sent us a whiskey, my whiskey sample shelf is like overflowing. And if you sent us a whiskey and we just haven't gotten to it, and you're like, I really want you to get to it.
Yeah, just hit us up.
Hit us up and be like, hey, Have you forgotten about this one? Chances
Yeah.
are it got
We're down to
another
hear
one
that.
put in front of it, and it's out of sight, out of mind for now. But if there's one that on our shelf that you sent us, you're like, dude, you guys got to crack this one open. I've been waiting forever.
Seriously.
Let us know.
Yeah, please. And we'll put it up against another one, and hopefully, and we'll keep putting it up against others until it wins.
There you go.
Yeah. So
all right.
That'd be great. And thank you. That's a good point, Robby, because I'm sure there are some listeners like he never got to that one, and I'd love for them to, or them to
listen. I'd love to get to them all too. Maybe 1 week we should just do a marathon of hour after hour after hour and go through like
and then just release a
marathon. We'll just live stream it all and just be out of our gourds.
Actually,
would be great. That'd be kind of fun. We've been talking about like taking a personal day just to do a bunch of recording. We probably should try to do that before the baby comes.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah, we should. We'll make that a June thing. Well, you get off. When does school end this year?
June 1st.
Okay, yeah, we'll have all June. Since we're not doing a meetup this year.
Dude, sorry. I don't have big time Etsy money, all right?
Well, no, it's not about the money. We had to make the time. I would have paid for some of it.
Well, I don't.
It's not too late, Robby.
It's okay. It's
first
still
week of July.
Cole,
first weekend of July.
It's still pretty expensive.
If it's about expensive, I got jewelry money. If it's about time,
we'll talk. We'll talk more. Okay. And let's talk when we walk, bro. Let's go ahead.
Let's talk when we walk. And let's go to a walk right now. We'll be right back. And we're back. Like Robby alluded to, a big shout out to the baller, Brian Rapp, for not only sending us 6 samples apiece, which are baller samples. He also got me, we mentioned this before, but he went out of his way to get me a few bottles of Ode to Isla. And he helped me with the transfer of a Delbach Frontera, which we'll be drinking in the next few weeks. And that's amazing. And you can count on a guy like Brian Rapp. And he took care of one of our other listeners, Bryce Marita. Dude is a double ding baller. And so is Bryce. He's get 1 ding for now. Anyway, thank you, Brian. You're a baller. Otherwise, we're like you also alluded to, we're doing our April drink along right before Matt Madness on April 28th. That'll be at 8:15-ish, probably Eastern time on April 28th, Friday. So keep an eye out for that and mark your calendars. And then a random shout out to Andrew Loudon, who I haven't heard from in a while. How you doing, Andrew? Hit us up.
Not hearing him loud and clear.
Yeah, not so loud and clear as we used to. But we love him either way. And he's beautiful. And so is his wife, Melissa.
Golly.
Causation. So anyway.
And correlation.
Yeah, correlation, causation, who knows? But I know it's probably one of the two. So we're drinking today Stagg Jr, batch 17. Batch isn't on the bottle, proof is. But yeah, batch 17. And we've done Stagg bourbons a good few times on the podcast. In fact, this is our 7th Stagg related episode of either, Stagg Jr.
We're pretty good at having stag parties, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that's what I was going to lead off at the beginning. Be like, to celebrate, we're having a stag party. I should have done. Let's start over.
What does that mean? Is that a joke? Like what is a stag party?
I think I should know this. I think it's just like a bachelor party kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully it's nothing like. Hopefully it's nothing too out there. I'm gonna double check. Maybe we're not having a stag party.
Yeah, maybe we're just having a regular party. But anyway, either Stagg Jr. or which is only goes by Stagg.
Oh yeah, it's bachelor party.
Days. Okay, cool. That sounds good. Or George T Stagg. We drank 4 batches of Stagg Jr. thus far. We drank 3 and 10 were on the same episode. 12 had its own episode, and 14 had its own episode. And then we had 2018, 2019, and 2020 of George T Stagg. And that's The one thing, though, about Stagg products is that every single batch is unique. So doing 7 episodes on Stagg products should be unique as well. But we've covered a lot of history in the past on George T Stagg the man, or the George T Stagg line, or the Stagg Jr. line, as well as history on Buffalo Trace Distillery. But I thought I'd just give some fun facts today about the George T Stagg Distillery, at least when it was called that. If you want to find history on the other topics that I mentioned, like Stagg the man or the line, check out those other podcast episodes of those. So we're going to talk about the George T Stagg Distillery. And some people have heard of the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. Well, it's certainly not always been called that.
Oh, boy.
And Buffalo Trace claims that there has been distilling on the site of the property since 1775. And we've talked about a guy named Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor Jr., who took over the distillery in 1869, just a little after the Civil War. The official distillery before that was started up by Albert B. Blanton. You want to guess what the B is for, Robby?
Big time.
Bacon.
Bush's Baked Beans.
Yep. It was Albert Bush's Baked Beans, Bacon Blanton. And anyway, but you remember Colonel E.H. Taylor, the person, sold his distillery to a man named George T. Stagg in 1878. And to hear the history of the OFC distillery that he ran, that Taylor ran, the distillery that he established, seemed like a big deal, but he only ran it for less than 10 years before selling it. And here's why he sold it. Apparently, George T. Stagg was George T. Stagg was a wholesaler of whiskey and owned a company with a guy named Gregory, I believe.
That's it.
And
just Gregory.
He sold a lot of the OFC distilleries bourbon. And in the end, Edmund Haynes Taylor owed the company that George T. Stagg co-owned a lot of money because of the transactions and stuff. So much money that in a way of paying off the debt, he just sold the whole distillery to Stagg. In the end, George T. Stagg did his best to keep a good relationship with Edmund Haynes Taylor, but in keeping Taylor's name on the whiskey, he wasn't even making. Taylor basically had an issue with that. And in the end, the whiskey company name was changed from the E.H. Taylor Jr. Company to the George T. Stagg and Company in 1890. That doesn't mean the distillery's name changed, just the company name. George T. Stagg was known to be a great businessman and a very inventive kind of guy. He was known to have created the first climate-controlled warehouse for aging bourbon. He installed steam heaters to regulate the temperature, especially on cold days. And then he died in 1893, pretty short after he even took over. I mean, he was there for like 15 years or so. But years later, in 1904, the distillery was renamed the George T. Stagg Distillery, when it was previously called the Old Fire Copper or the Old Fashioned Copper, depending on who you ask, distillery. The OFC distillery. Yes, the company name changed in 1890, but the distillery changed its name that year in 1904. Anyway, it was named the George T. Stagg Distillery from 1904 to 1999, when it was renamed the Buffalo Trace Distillery, even though it went through quite a few changes over the years. First off, it survived Prohibition and was one of the only distilleries to serve medicinal bottles in 1920 through 1933. It survived a few changes of hands, especially when Shenley bought them out right after Prohibition.
Chungli?
And Shenley, what's that?
Chungli?
Shenley. Schenley. And so I could do a whole episode on Shenley. Very
Chungli?
interesting conglomerate. No.
Oh.
Yeah. But very interesting conglomerate.
Chungli, I think, is the big Asian fighter in Bloodsport.
Okay. I can get behind that. Jean-Claude Van Damme. But yeah, they have enough history in Shenley, who you don't really hear about anymore.
No, she's the girl in Street Fighter. I was wrong.
Oh, okay. But you don't really hear about Shenley anymore. But it was a rockin' conglomerate back in the day. Like they bought out everything.
How does Shenley spell its name?
Which one?
Yours.
Oh, Schenley.
That's totally wrong.
Yeah, it's totally different.
I'm writing a letter.
But even after Shenley bought them out, in 1984, the distillery was known to put out the first official like single barrel product, which was Blanton's in 1984. And so in 1992, Sazerac bought out the distillery with Gary Gayhart as the master distiller. In 1999, the name changed to what it is today, the Buffalo Trace Distillery. And in 2005, Gary Gayhart retired with 33 years worked at the distillery and was replaced by Harlan Wheatley, the current master distiller of Buffalo Trace. And that's just some fun background of the George T Stagg Distillery. But let's get into what we're drinking today. Stagg Jr. Batch 17. Excuse me. So it's the 100. I'll get to that. First of all, it's Buffalo Trace Mash Bill number 1. Same mash bill as Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, George T Stagg, most Colonel Taylor products. And so, yeah, low rye bourbon mash bill. So recently, meaning in late 2021, Buffalo Trace announced it was losing the junior from the label. And batch 17 was to be the final batch to get junior on the label. Batch 18 and higher just get Stagg, not Stagg Jr. on the label. Buffalo Trace said it was originally called Junior because it was the more accessible variety of a high proof mash bill number 1 without making it a full out George T Stagg release. George T Stagg typically was aged around at least 15 years, but Stagg Jr. was usually around 6 to 8 or 9. But since George T Stagg was not a junior in real life, why incorporate it on the label? They basically made the argument. Anyway, this is the winter 2021 release, and it's at 128.7 proof. No age statement, but we can assume it's around 8 years or so. Quick shout out to my friend Daniel Elliott, who actually waited in line for this to get it for me. What a baller. And I basically told him that like Stagg Jr. is my white whale whiskey. And I've said this many times in the past. It is so hard for me to find Stagg Jr. I've had more luck getting George T Stagg over the years than I've gotten luck finding Stagg Jr. And then here's where it gets a little close to home. Yesterday, I have been checking, like there's been drops all week, and I've heard that like Stagg Juniors have been, or Stags have been dropped recently, and for the ABC Virginia stuff. And so I kept my eye on my phone all day and was like really on top of it, saying like, if there's a drop, I want to be there and I want to get a bottle of Stagg. I took my eyes off my phone for 15 minutes, come back, and it's already 12 minutes past the drop point. I go to the store that is 3 minutes from my house, which was dropped to, and I get that bottle, luckily, of Blanton's, but they said they had already sold out of Stagg. So there it goes again. Just missed another Stagg, white whale whiskey. But total wine price is $70, but it can go a lot higher. It can go in the hundreds on the secondary. But let's drink this. I've been really excited to drink this. This is a hard bottle. It's really been a hard bottle to not drink before the podcast. So I've been saving this one, and we're gonna make the best of it. Hopefully it's good. I assume it's pretty good. Usually Stagg Juniors are good, and sometimes Stagg Juniors are better than George T Stagg. Sometimes. Here's the cork pop.
Tweet. So as we're getting ready to drink here, Cole, I want to say that I was right. Well, close right. It's not Chungli. It was Chongli who was the big dude in Bloodsport that Jean-Claude had to fight in the finals.
Wait, so who was
cheated?
Oh, that was the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Chun-Li was a Street Fighter girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying it wrong, so but I knew what I was talking about eventually.
Yeah, you totally knew what you were talking about. It wasn't offensive at all.
Appley. Very appley.
Nice, like high proof. You can kind of get some high proof. Just you can tell it's at least 120-ish.
Not even so much the vapors, but I get like a little burn on my nose hairs from it. So
Yeah,
it does come across high proof on the nose. Oh boy, here we go.
it's appley fruity. It's maybe a little bit of dark berries fruity on the nose.
Hot.
And it is good on the nose. I wish it had a little more oomph to the nose, but maybe I'm just not getting enough.
It's sweet and appley. This is hot. I get heat hits right away, and then maybe I'm not warmed up enough, but heat hits right away. I get like mixed berries, and then it's just heat. And then I get a little bit of like corn, nutty, peanuttiness. And then I get a little bit of bitterness on the end, but just like a very faint little bit. Yeah, it is hot though. I'll tell you that much.
This reminds me of one of the better Stagg, George T Staggs I've ever had. Batch 2016, 144.1, I believe. Or no. Yeah, I think Stagg his 2016 was 144.1, but I gotta look that up. But I love it. This reminds like one of the better notes of this is like a dense, like if you took an apple pie and you reduced it on a stove and like really let the flavors meld together,
and then you touched your tongue to the stove.
Yeah,
it's hot.
No, I'm not getting the notes that you're getting.
This is almost too hot to enjoy neat for me right now. And I didn't really have much of an entry buzz, so that might be the problem. I already dropped water. You going to your water yet?
No, not yet. I'm still enjoying this too much.
Yeah, I see. I think I am not enjoying it neat too much. And I'm pushing the envelope here of like, let's go to the water. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. It's just, to me, it's just really hot. Like that's mostly what I'm getting. And I'm tired. I don't know why I'm yawning so much.
Yeah.
Remember we used to record at 7:00 on Thursdays and it would turn into a yawn fest for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm doing it.
No, I love this,
back, baby.
I think this is fantastic. With mash bill number 1, or even just general Buffalo Trace juice, it's usually very sweet, usually very appley. I love it. I don't know what they're putting in besides corn, rye, and malted barley, but it is usually very sweet. And I think this is fantastic. I'm not even getting the overproof notes as much. I'm also not getting bitterness. I think it's just amazing. And I was right. It was Stagg 2016. George T Stagg 2016 was 144.1 proof. And it was one of my favorite bourbons ever. Like probably top 3.
So you have a good memory, man. I can't remember stuff. I wouldn't know. I remember Chungli, and it was Chong. Yeah. Chong.
Oh, you remember all right.
Oh, man.
Reminds me of, what's the Pawn Stars guy? Chumley?
Yeah, I think he was like a child sex predator or something like that.
Was he?
Yeah, I think so. I think something like that.
Sure?
Happened. Yeah.
He just looks like an easy target. Maybe he is, though.
Well, if you're looking for a sex predator, he's low-hanging fruit because that guy just kind of looks like he was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to know. I don't want to slander him if he wasn't, because I've seen him on like seemingly recent episodes, and they still show the show with him. But I guess you'd still do that if it was a successful show.
He was arrested in a sexual assault raid in 2016.
Did it have to do with children?
I don't know. Found meth and marijuana at his house and a gun. He was booked on a sex crime allegation.
But was he like convicted?
He took a plea deal.
Okay, so there's probably
he was probably guilty.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I'm no criminologist.
Terrible kid.
I'm on a whiskey podcast, and I'm barely a whiskey connoisseur. I'm no crimatologist.
Yeah.
All right, nose-wise on the water, it gets a lot
Yeah.
sweeter, a little bit more like brown sugary kind of a thing.
Yeah, I can get beyond brown sugar on the nose. Also, it's vibrant, more vibrant on the nose. Like it's a little more showing with some water as opposed to just the neat pour. It's a dark color too, especially in the bottle. Look at this bottle.
Ooh,
Dark.
I like it with water. I'm in a good spot with water.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's try it out.
Proofage is just right with a couple drops of water. I think
Still
hot. It's still on the hotter side.
Oh,
but you get like it comes out in like more of like a spicy kind of a way. It kicks it up a little bit. The sweetness is still pretty good. I get that late note of peanut on the end. I don't know
what's better. I think this is better than the neat pour.
You think so? I think so. I'm gonna go for a second sip.
Which is weird for like a Stagg product. Normally, like with solid bourbons, they're best neat. But I hate to say it, this might be a little bit better with a little water. It brings out the flavors more. The apple's there, the brown sugar's more there. It's just brighter. It's a lot brighter without losing the integrity of the product or feeling like it's watered down. It is good.
And it's still pretty hot. Like
yeah. And you can tell it's more than Buffalo Trace, even with a few drops. Yeah.
It's hard to it's a little bit hard to breathe after you drink some of it too. It's like you know, when you activate all of them alcohol burns with the air.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is hot though.
Dropping a drop.
Bloop.
Dropping a cube.
Bloop a doop. Bloop a doop. I want to party with you.
Giving it the old stir. Hey, it's colder in my hand. Weird Robby's
Very
face
odd.
right now.
Very odd. Very peculiar.
Yeah. There's a guy, there's a guy at my work who says interdesting, but I'm always like interstressing.
I like to reverse syllables from like the beginning to the end.
Etsing.
Like if someone were to say like see on the flip side, not even like syllables, even
flip you on the seaside.
Exactly. Flip you on the seaside. Stuff like that. I like to switch that around. And I look like a dummy. I look like a dork.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Like that's a pretty good one. Flip you on the seaside.
Yeah.
That works.
It does. I mean you could do that. People do flips on the seaside.
What do you say when people go to you, how goes it?
It goes as well.
I'm always like, oh. Like almost like a Kramer like response, like, oh, it goes.
I don't think people ever really say how goes it to you.
I heard it today and I was like, oh, it goes. I haven't smelled it yet. Still good. Still good. It's muted more than the ice and neat. I mean, the neat and the water, but it's still good.
I think the fruitiness comes out more in it. I'm getting much more like mixed berries from it with the ice. You know, movies I just started watching this week, and I watched all 3 because I didn't think I would enjoy it, but I did. It was John Wick. I watched all the John Wicks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it opens up with some really poor acting. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this. And then I was hooked. That man can shoot a kneecap. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's big at that. It's good up front, but the finish gets bitter for me. But up front, it's like amazing. I'm like, this is great ice bourbon. But I wouldn't recommend ice anymore because the finish is just weird and dry. It
is dry.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't ever drink this again with ice. That's the bad I get.
It is really dry. That's the weirdest thing. It's really dry. Like if like the front of it, it's really refreshing, and then at the end of it's like, no, that wasn't. It's no longer refreshing. So it's really muted. I'm not getting like the heat is kind of gone. That was nice with the water, and then like it's just the flavors are just kind of muted. I'm not really getting too many notes on it.
I'm gonna go back to the neat pour after this sip.
Well, that's neat. Oh man, I'm yawning. I got hiccups. Everything's going south on me. Come on. I'm right here.
I didn't pour myself any water, but I guess I got the ice tray. Yeah, I have a rating for this, or at least I'm putting it together. Yeah, I'm happy with my idea of a rating.
Okay.
9.37.
We are way off on each other here. Okay.
No, I think this is for the ice and the neat and water pour. This is a great bourbon. This is everything I look for in a good bourbon. Delish. A delish. Love it.
I am a little disappointed because I do
Okay.
like Stagg. I like
Yeah.
a higher proof bourbon. And
Yeah.
this one just is not hitting the spot for me. I don't know if maybe I'm getting sick too and my tasters are off, but it doesn't hit where I typically think a Stagg should hit. That being said, I would gladly get the bottle and drink the bottle.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go 8.4. A little disappointed in it. It's not my favorite. So
we'll take the average and get just about a 9 or 8.89 or something like that.
I don't know, man. I'm just guessing here. Yeah.
But I like that. And now that we've gotten our ratings out of the way, I poured myself a little extra neat. And let's get to our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. Part of the show where we read an article, we talk about it, didn't write it, we're going to read it. Here we go. This one comes from One More Dram, written by Elias Aoude. I don't know. It's Aoude. It's like,
wow. That's three vowels in a row.
Yeah. Anyway, it's titled Teeling Whiskey releases 15-year-old Irish single grain. Teeling Whiskey has announced the launch of Teeling 15-year-old Irish single grain, a limited edition Irish whiskey distilled predominantly from corn. Triple distilled from a recipe of 95% corn, 5% malted barley, Teeling 15-year-old Irish single grain was initially matured in ex-bourbon casks, followed by a secondary maturation in ex-Bordeaux Sauvignon Blanc white wine casks, before being bottled at 50% ABV with no chill filtration. Hey, that is the name of the podcast. Yeah. Teeling 15-year-old Irish single grain is described as having aromas of light citrus, grapefruit, delicate green apple, and honeysuckles. The palate exhibits fresh and zesty peppers. That's weird. With honeydew melon, vanilla sweetness, and hints of pear, concluding with a drying finish with lingering subtle fruit notes. It is available for 110 euros for a 17 CL bottle. I don't know what that is. Roll out to international.
Liter.
Roll out to international markets.
Or centiliter. Centiliter.
Okay. I had me at either. And that's all it is. But it's 15-year-old Irish single grain from Teeling. What do you think, Cole?
I do have thoughts because
let's hear the thoughts.
Is generally a single malt Irish whiskey, meaning that it's copper pot still, 100% malted barley, and a few other stipulations. But those are the big two. And so them putting out a single grain is a big deal, especially a 15-year. It's not as big a deal if they did a single malt 15-year, because that would be harder to do. But single grain is a little less strict on the rules. One of the rules of single grain is that basically it doesn't even need to be a copper pot still. It could be like a coffee still or something like that. But I think that's kind of cool that they're at least trying it. I would be interested to try it. I think, we've never done Teeling on the podcast.
We haven't?
No. We've done a few single malt whiskey or Irish whiskeys, but but I don't think we have done a blended Irish whiskey or two, but I don't know if we've ever done a straight single grain, because blended is basically like anything goes. Like, it's like Jameson, which
is like the blood sport of whiskeys.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
anything
Jean-Claude Van Damme beating up anyone that comes his way.
Chong Li. He beats up Chong Li. Chong Li breaks a dude in half and punches him in the nuts. Yeah. You could do that with
in Bloodsport.
Blended Irish whiskeys.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on Teeling's new release?
Well, I did. So it says single grain.
Mm-hmm.
Is corn not a grain?
Corn's a grain.
Okay. Is
And
barley
I
a grain?
think, what's that?
Is barley a grain?
Barley's a grain.
So why don't they call it a double grain?
Because the single it needs to come from at least a single distillery. That's the other rule. So single malt, single pot still, and single grain all need to come from one distillery. Jameson, for example, can get away with using multiple distilleries because it doesn't have the single. It's just blended Irish whiskey.
Blood sported whiskey. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what.
But now we know. Now we're better off because we have knowledge. Yeah, knowing is half.
And I'm going to forget my knowledge right away.
Yeah, but I'll remember it for you. So
you will. Yeah. You will. All right, we ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on to our next segment of the show that we like to call "What Whiskey Would You Choose?" When we got last week's results already prepared.
Well, kind of not, because I was a productive week, and I was even like yesterday morning or like on Tuesday, I had like the images ready to roll. I was ready to put, I was like, I'm going to get it out on Wednesday. I forgot. So anyway, it's a little late, so we might have some results still coming in, but you'll get the gist. We went with, what's your favorite whiskey nickname? Cole went with EHT, or I went with EHT. Cole with Yam. And I'm winning right now.
Nice. I was winning when I checked
about 12 hours late. I thought you were winning last time I checked, but that was this morning. EHT's winning 67% to 33%.
Wow, that's a big difference.
And then we have, actually, I should probably go to the latest because someone might have written in since I have saved them. No one has. Paul Clarkson says Baby Saz. I'm like, yeah, Baby Saz is great.
I like that. That's a great new whiskey nickname.
I'm going to save Miles for last. Nice. 5.0 Fat Boy, Jerome Edwards, non-fighting people juice. And I think that's just what he calls whiskey to take the pressure off. Like, I'm just not going to fight people. I got to chill, drink a glass of whiskey. Although he must not be Irish because us Irishmen like to fight when we get a whiskey in us.
I can assure you, Jerome is not Irish.
He might be. You never know.
Hey,
you never know. Bryce Marita, B_side. Bryce Marita, old number 7 has always struck a chord with me. Mark Onizzi, Knob, Handy, BTAC, ECB, P, Stubby. And then the Smoke Note, OWA. What's Old WA?
Old Weller Antique, 107. Weller Antique.
And I think the winner so far right now is Miles Ferguson, Kilted 518, Fighting Cock, because, well, it actually doesn't need a nickname.
That's
there
true.
You go.
I like that. Good answer, Miles.
Cool, I got one for you this week.
Bring it on.
Talking about Irish whiskeys. What is your favorite, like, low, like, 25 and below Irish whiskey? Like, if you're going to drink an Irish whiskey, but you only got, like, a 20 on you and maybe a handful of change, what are you going to drink?
Tullamore Dew.
Tullamore Dew. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for, really talking that out on a podcast that's supposed to be about talking.
Well, it's for the value. It's one of the best. You can't get any redbreast at that level, and Jameson's the alternative. So I would pick Tully over Jameson typically.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Tullamore Dew was. I remember we did it on the podcast, and we're both like, "Whoa, this is like
great for the value."
Yeah, like we typically would mix with it, and we were like, this is actually decent for sipping. Like it's a nice little sipper. I'm gonna go with Teeling. I do like Teeling a lot. It's a little bit more expensive than Tully, but it is delicious.
Teeling goes that low?
I want to say it's like 30.
Let me look at this. I'm on Total Wine right now already. 69 for their standard.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Here, let me look again.
Are you serious?
Yeah, all stores. Okay, yeah. No, their small batch is 32.
And that's like
I was looking at their single malt Irish whiskey, which was 69.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a little bit. You have a 20 and a 10 and a handful of change. That's what it is. So budget friendly Irish. I'm going Teeling.
Okay.
Okay.
Why is that?
I like Teeling. It's good.
I wonder if their small batch is single pot or single malt.
The single stands for single distillery. You might be confused by that, but that's what it is.
It's finished in rum casks. Didn't know that. The standard small batch.
Is it really?
Maybe that's why you like it. Yeah.
Huh. I don't typically like.
Yeah, but you like this. Finished. Oh, you like that? So anyway.
All right. So that's that.
Yeah. So wait. Is that the question? What's your cheap Irish?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like starting off something and be like, and then my real question is this.
No, that
That's
was
why
it,
you were
my
upset
friend.
with my answer being so short.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, Tullamore Dew. Yeah, Tully's good enough.
yeah.
But you said less than 20, didn't you? Or did you say less than 30?
I said 20 and a handful of change.
Oh, okay.
So just that like lower
still stand by
price.
my answer.
Like you were saying, it's not Redbreast because you would go for Redbreast. I know you would.
Heck yeah. Or like anything from the what's the name of that distillery? Crap. Who else makes not Bushmills? Dang it, it's killing me.
Speaking of Irish whiskeys, what is the one? Connemara single barrel.
Yeah.
If anybody sees one of those, let me know because I'm like
Middleton Distillery.
Gotcha.
And yeah, you can't really buy any of the spot whiskey. Speaking of which, we have from Brian Rapp, we get the Blue Spot, the cask strength, and it's a 117.8 for an Irish. That's incredible.
It's huge.
So, speaking of which, now that we've covered a whiskey, what whiskey would you choose? We're gonna put it up next week. We have, thanks to Brian Rapp. I feel like I should have reached out to Jack Daniels on this, but either way, we have it. We have the most recent Jack Daniels 12-year at a 107 proof, and then the Jack Daniels 10-year at 97 proof. We're going to put them up against each other next week, and then we're going to drink one of them. And then soon after that, we'll probably be drinking the Frontera from Del Bach and figuring out what we're going to do with that one. But I'm excited, and I hope you're too excited.
Cole, and I hope that I texted it to you.
Yeah.
I hope you do a 5-minute meditation after this video.
Right after? I got to go down and see my baby.
Okay. Right after the baby's done. I hope tonight you get your 5-minute meditation in.
Yeah. No. I hope that I could also win Matt Madness coming up. And I hope you have a good day off tomorrow if you take it off with the babies.
I hope the babies are feeling better. But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of whiskey lifted your spirits.
Oh, it goes.